is basically corrupted by Barlow, who is the main vampire. He takes over the whole town. She eventually takes a shotgun and kills Dr. James Cody, which does not happen in the book. And she kind of is like the last line of defense for Barlow when everyone else is now dead. The next clip will be Anne with the shotgun.
Get away from my daughter! Right, let's go! Barlow told me you'd come for her!
So Anne is very clearly influenced by Barlow, as she mentioned his name. He found her after just a night where she was easily influenceable. He told her that Ben would try to kill Susan, and eventually he does because she's a vampire and cannot live. So the third difference that I did was Matt Burke and Susan Norton's death. In the book, Susan was the first of the protagonists to die. She got turned into a vampire by Barlow when she and Mark went into the Marston house to investigate, and Mark wanted to kill Barlow. Matt Burke died at the end of the book very peacefully by heart attack. This influences the whole book because Susan is taken away from Ben, which makes him extremely vengeful, which ultimately pushes him to go kill Barlow and uninfest the town with the vampires. But this all changes in the movie. Susan was changed into a vampire at the end of the movie, and she died then. And Matt got turned into a vampire instead of Susan at the Marston house, and he and Mark went and investigated. This changes the whole thing because in the book, Matt was kind of the one who was the first, like, this is happening, we have to stop it. And because he's not, now he's an undead, he can't help Mark, Susan, all of them do more research because Matt had a heart attack in about the middle of the book. And then they did research from his hospital room with Dr. Cody, who is a big help with all of that, and he is also the one who kind of gets everybody to believe. So because Matt is now an undead, a lot of that doesn't happen, so it drastically changes the whole rest of the movie. And the next clip will be Mark coming into the church and telling everybody that Matt is now dead.
Can I help you?
Mr. Burke. He's one of them now.
Sorry, one of who?
One of the vampires.
So because Matt has died, he was the one in the book who got Father Callahan, which is the man you see right now, to believe that there are vampires, and eventually Father helped them on their journey. But because Matt has now died, Mark is the one who kind of comes in and says, this is what's happening, you know, we need to fight, we need to kill, we need to do this right now. The fourth difference I have is the entire ending of the book and the movie. So in the book ended in the Marston house. Ben and Mark killed Barlow and Susan, and the rest of the town was forced to stay in the basement of the house. But in the movie, it ended in the drive-in movie lot, which goes back to Susan and Ben's first date. So Anne attacked Ben, which I already showed you, and the rest of the town awoke at night after hiding in the trunk of all the cars parked in the lot. So a lot of them did die that night because Barlow died too. So Barlow was kind of the last one to die, and then after that, Ben and Mark escaped as they were the only survivors of the entire night. I don't have a clip for this because it was extremely graphic and I don't think anybody wants to see that. Alright. The last difference I have is the representation of the events that happened in the prologue. So in the prologue, it kind of said, not explicitly because you're left to infer as you get the rest of it in the whole rest of the book. So in the prologue, Mark and Ben drove off together and moved to a place where there were no more vampires or mention of the lot at all. They also burned the town down so that no one could ever be turned again. But at the end of the movie, it doesn't at all show what happened in the prologue. The ones where Ben and Mark kind of live together and destroy the lot as well. It ends instead where every supporting character is killed off except Ben and Mark, which I already mentioned, and the two of them kill Barlow, again, and then Ben and Mark drive away from the lot together. That is literally the end of the movie. It doesn't at all say what happened to the lot afterwards. It doesn't say, like, oh, Ben and Mark lived peacefully after, happily ever after, or anything like that. It just kind of abruptly ends, whereas the book kind of sets up the whole thing, and it shows that the whole rest of the world denies the existence of the lot entirely, which is huge. So to end this, ultimately I give the movie a 3 out of 5 stars. The movie didn't really portray the book in a way that would have properly represented it. There were so many changes, such as the order of character deaths and the storyline in general. Plus, they left out a lot of the key details that make the movie make more sense structurally and just in general. If anyone was to properly represent everything written in the book, it probably would have been a couple hours long. Even so, the book in general has a lot more descriptive features, such as timestamps in the beginning, where it shows the whole lot, and then also includes time by time people getting turned, which makes it a lot more cohesive and doesn't just, oh, suddenly everybody's a vampire. There's also more dynamic characters where it gives a whole bunch of backstory on the characters. It gives more characters, which makes so much more sense. And it's not just 5 people in the story of how they saved the lot. It's the lot and the story of how the lot kind of disappeared from the map entirely. It includes backstories, which includes the timestamps and the characters themselves, and just more stories in general. The movie definitely could have taken better advantage of those characters. Just, there's so much that they could have done with the characters and everybody else, and instead they really just zeroed in on this person, this person, this person, instead of the story, which is about the lot, not just Ben. The movie did do a good job of representing the overall storyline, which is why it got the majority of its stars, but there was a lot to be desired.